Daggett and Ranking Member Griffith for holding this hearing. Thanks to all the witnesses for participating today. We all know it remains critical that we continue to build on the 2 existing vaccines that have already been approved for use and continued success of Operation Warp Speed. We recognize the need for more vaccine supply across the United States, and especially in Pennsylvania, where I hail from. I remain hopeful that we will see more vaccines and receive their EUA in short order to help with this problem. The advent of additional strains could raise the amount of vaccine that is needed to achieve the necessary herd immunity. But we must remain ahead of this virus. Americans everywhere are desperately seeking to return to their normal lives. They look to reopen their businesses, and most important, get their kids back into school. Safe, effective, and readily available vaccines are necessary to achieve this goal. Ramping up production on this scale and in this unprecedented time frame has presented some challenges. So I'd like to ask each of the witnesses to respond. Do you expect shortages in raw materials or component supplies, such as filters or specialized bags that are needed to manufacture your COVID-19 vaccine, especially if you're looking to produce more vaccines and if other companies receive EUAs in the coming months? And I'll start with Dr. Dauber.
Well, thank you so much for the question. I think it's an incredibly important question. At this moment, I can confirm that we are not foreseeing any shortage of raw materials, as you have mentioned.
Dr. Nettles, your response, please.
I agree with the previous response. At this time, shortages, as you describe, are not a limitation to us providing the vaccine.
And Dr. Hoag.
As others have said, at this point, we think we have the supplies and consumables we need to deliver.
Mr. Trezino, and first of all, I certainly enjoyed the graphics. It took me back to immunology in medical school to see you discuss nanoparticles. But let me allow you to address raw materials and component supplies. Do you feel that Novavax will face any shortages?
We've been working very closely with the U.S. government to ensure sufficient supply for our manufacturing facility with Fuji Diosynth, so we don't expect any shortages in the U.S.
And Mr. Young from Pfizer.
No, thank you for the question. In common with my other panelists, we don't anticipate currently any shortages of raw materials or supplies that would prevent us being able to deliver 300 million doses by the end of July.
Thank you. And I'd like to continue in the fashion that we've outlined. So specifically, have you seen issues in obtaining vaccine supplies from foreign manufacturing companies? And if so, what type of products have you found those challenges to lie within? And during what time of production did these challenges occur? And again, I'd like to start with Dr. Dover.
So in the United States, we have a very specific supply chain for the US. And once again, I reiterate, we haven't seen any shortages of essential materials in order to produce our vaccine. And we are on track to deliver 50 million doses in the month of April.
And thank you. Dr. Nettles.
Doctor, you need to unmute. You're muted.
Sorry. No, we have not encountered any shortages or issues with foreign supply of equipment that would prohibit us from delivering on the 100 million doses that we've committed to by the end of June.
Thank you. Dr. Hoag.
No, we haven't identified any such issues.
Mr. Trezino.
All of our raw materials are sourced within the U.S., so we don't have any shortages for our U.S. manufacturing.
And Mr. Young with Pfizer.
We don't currently see any shortages that would constrain our ability to meet our commitments.
And while I have you, and specifically this is regarding Pfizer, can you please tell us if you feel that you're able to provide us any updates regarding transportation and storage temperatures for the vaccine that would make this process easier, that would allow more shots to be put into patients' arms?
No, thank you for the question. Last week, we actually supplied an update to the FDA, which was based on data, stability data for our vaccine that found that we would be able to reliably store it for up to 2 months in conditions that are equivalent to a normal freezer. So we were certainly very happy with that update, and we hope that would enable the vaccine to be able to supply to more communities around this country.
Thank you. I see I'm over time and I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. Chair now recognizes Ms. Schreier for